Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bushra Nasir, and I was one of the first female Muslim head teachers of a secondary school in the UK. This is my story, my journey, and why I think education is very important for everyone.
Bushra Nasir is currently the CEO of the Drapers Multi-Academy Trust, comprising of 3 primary and 1 high school. But her journey into education, and for that matter, to this country, started many years ago in Lahore, Pakistan.
So I remember coming on a November evening, cold and miserable, and thinking, oh my goodness, this is very, very different. And there's a loneliness when you first arrive in England, isn't it? That you've been used to a large extended family in a small house, just your dad and your siblings and your mum. It was quite dramatic, actually.
In the 1970s, girls from Pakistan, as a rule, didn't go to UK universities, and so the part played by Bushra's parents was central to her success then and now.
When we came in 1960, there were very, very few Asians. I don't remember seeing another Asian child in my school. Actually, in the junior school that we went to, and then when I went to secondary or in the grammar school I went to, certainly there wasn't another Asian kid. So that was different into being you stick out. But the great thing was that you were treated as very special because it was so unusual to see Asian children around. And actually, even within the school, the head teacher making a real time for us to teach us English on a one-to-one, because obviously we were the only children in the schools who were not speaking English. So you were seen as different and a bit like, not guinea pigs, but experimental. So the teachers really wanted to make an impact on you. So it was great to be treated special, but you did feel you were in a very odd environment in school. And then at home, you were in a totally Pakistani environment. And I enjoyed doing my GCSEs, went on to do A-levels in the sciences and maths, and then went on to Queen Mary University for my degree.
After university, Bushra decided to become a teacher.
I think education has always been really, really important to my parents. I mean, my father in particular had come to England really in terms of wanting to work and to study. He knew there was an opportunity here, so he did some studying here while he was working. So he was always passionate. And interesting, my mum only went to school till she was 10 years old and was stopped from education because that was the norm in Pakistan. So she was passionate to give her daughters the same opportunities that had been given to her brother and so on. She felt it'd been very unfair on her. So her love of learning and support was really not that common, I think, at that time in the 1960s. And I remember when I was going to university, a number of women saying, why are you sending her to university? Just get her married. And so my mother said, no, she's bright, she wants to go. My son's going to university, she's going as well. And I was the first to go to university from my family.
Plashet School in London's East End was where Bushra spent over 20 years, and it's fair to say in the beginning it was a challenging environment.
My life was changed by teachers. I think I to this day remember some of the people who either academically pushed me or really supported me to think wider than just the studying, gave me a lot of pastoral support and so on. So if teachers can change people's lives like they did mine, I wanted to be in a position to be able to do that.
The phenomenal success of the school was recognised by Ofsted, who labelled it as one of 12 outstanding schools, excelling against the odds.
My passion was to have a really effective school that served all the communities. Every community felt valued. And then the academic rigour with the staff, with really trying to improve the results. So the first lot of results were around 28%, 5 good passes. And that wasn't including English and maths. And by the time I'd left in 2012, it was actually 76%, 5 A to C with English and maths. So it had almost trebled the results and so on. And for me, seeing some of the outcomes for our first students to go to Oxford and Cambridge, for our first kids to go into medicine, go into professions that they wouldn't have ever thought about going into, and raising not just their own aspirations, but then raising the whole aspirations of their whole community was something I think hopefully it's a legacy I've left behind.
And it wasn't just Ofsted who noticed Bushra's magic touch.
I mean, it's been great to win lots of awards. So when I got the CBE, I went to Buckingham Palace with my parents, was phenomenal. But then the next day I brought the medal into an assembly, got the children, each of them to handle it. I said, this is yours. We've all earned this because of the success of the school and so on. So I think an award is a recognition for an individual, but it's actually a recognition for the organisation and all the stakeholders, including the teachers and so on. So I think the one that really for me stood out, actually getting the Head Teacher of the Year in 2012. For me, that was the year I was retiring, and to be recognised for that amongst my fellow head teachers was a great achievement. And what it did do, hopefully, was to show that people can come from lots of different backgrounds, have lots of other responsibilities within school and outside school, but can achieve well, and they can be a great role model.
In 2012, Bushra retired as headmistress, but her story didn't end there.
I think when I retired, obviously I had more time, and I wanted to do something to give back. So I think my parents being immigrants, myself being an immigrant child arriving at the age of 8 here, and the benefits I've had, I wanted to get involved in a project. So I was asked to be involved in the Migration Museum project, which is a project. We actually haven't got a museum for migration in this country. They are in other countries, but we haven't got one here. There are bits of migration in lots of different museums. But this project is something I'm very passionate about because we want to set up a bespoke museum on migration. And my role was to be chair of the education committee, which was going to look at this project from an educational angle to make sure that what young people would need in that museum would be catered for.
With such an impressive history and commitment to charities helping to change the lives of many through education, it was no surprise that there was to be one more twist in the career of this formidable woman.
I got involved with Drapers as a school improvement partner for the secondary school and as a mentor to the 3 primary schools. And it was lovely coming in, helping, supporting on a monthly basis. I built up very good relationships with them. But the Drapers schools are on a journey, and the Multi-Academy Trust was growing in the number of schools that they had. So I was asked to help to coordinate the work across the schools as CEO, first in an interim capacity for a year and a half, and then I have become now their permanent CEO. I mean, education has been a very much central part of my life. It's driven me in terms of my own development, and the influence of my parents. They were the drivers. They're the ones that pushed me, raised my aspirations, raised my thinking that I could achieve in education. So that is wonderful. So the message I would give to parents is you can change your children's life, by opening doors for them. Because not only has education changed my life, I hope I've helped to change other people's lives.